So this HyperX Ally Origins is the 60% version. There's also a full size and a 10 keyless design also available. Now if this keyboard is built the same as the other two, then you can take this as a 3-in-1 review. Much like a lot of gaming keyboards, this one just comes in black. We accept a variety in design for our mice, mouse pads and headsets, but keyboards, no. We aren't there yet, I guess. Anyway, with it being a 60%, we have a very small design which will optimize our desk space. The body is aircraft grade aluminium. Why? Who knows, but it does sound cool. This contributes to the weight of this board being around 781 grams. The build quality is exceptional. It feels very solid with very little rattle or anything like that. The whole thing feels very well put together and solid. Even the adjustable keyboard feet are great, and sometimes I find that these can be a bit flimsy on some. Here they are just as high quality as the rest of the keyboard. The other part is, well, I spilled a lot of water on this keyboard. Oh! I just spilled water on my keyboard. It was an accident and I was streaming at the time, but anyway, it was around about 300 milliliters of water. I immediately flipped it over, pulled the caps off and just stuck it in a box of rice, and after a few days it still works. I am in no way suggesting that this keyboard is water resistant or waterproof. I'm just highlighting the fact that I'm very surprised to find that the keyboard didn't die when I spilled lots of water on it. Overall, this whole board in terms of quality wise is just very impressive. It just feels like one piece of solid quality, like it was crafted out of a chunk of metal. The keycaps are a standard double shot PBT, with some of the keycaps having side printed secondary functions for if you get confused with where everything is on a smaller keyboard. These keycaps feel fine and should be long lasting, as there isn't anything printed on them that some others have. This keyboard is using HyperX's own switches. I did have a look around to find more information to see if they were made with another company, but it looks like they might have just done it all themselves. The HyperX Reds, which this one is using, have around about a 45 gram operation force, a 1.8mm actuation point, and a 3.8mm total travel distance, with a lifespan of around 80 million presses. So these are a bit lighter than the Cherry MX Reds, as the actuation points are around about 0.2mm lower. This keyboard also comes in a tactile switch, which are the HyperX Aqua. For the sound test, here you go. Now I'm either going to sound like I know what I'm talking about, or I'll just end up like an idiot, so please forgive me. I've been out of the keyboard hobby for a few years because it's kind of expensive and I had no money. Anyway, the stabilizers, I think, which are responsible for the bigger key's stability or lack of rattle, is very good. There's very little rattle on anywhere apart from the spacebar. Compared to some of the other ones that I've used, like the Corsair K70 and the Fanatic Dash, I feel like the stabilization on those was a little bit wonky and did sort of end up with like a little bit of a misbalance or a wobbly feeling on some of the bigger keys. In total, I think this is one of the most consistent sounding and feeling gaming keyboards that I have used. There's a lot of RGB options, which is okay. There's layering, so you can bind effects and all that lot. There's lots of fancy stuff you can do. The software is pretty bare bones despite that. There is macro functions, but I actually found this easy to navigate compared to some other software for keyboards. It even has a clear section of adding your own secondary function key commands, which I think is really nice to actually point out instead of having it all lumped into one section with the macros. You can save all the changes onto the keyboard as well with up to 3 profiles. You can also change what the game mode does in terms of disabling the extra annoying Windows functions. But it doesn't stop there. If you don't like software, you still have some limited functions in terms of RGB customization with a series of key presses. You do also get media keys as a secondary function also, and the ability to swap between the onboard profiles. One thing that is a bit of a shame if you don't want to touch the software is that the gamer mode just disables the window key by default only. So it won't do Shift Tab, Alt Tab or Control and Escape. You have to go into the software and actually change that. Now using this keyboard has been really good. I love using it for typing and in game. It's very reliable and feels great. I think the best thing for me is that there is no rattle or anything that's too distracting. With the Corsair K70 keyboard, I complained about the rattle, which can be a bit jarring and annoying, and when you're trying to concentrate and you can really feel that rattle go through your bones, it's you know, just a bit distracting. Here everything is just nice and consistent, which makes it really good to use. For maintenance it is pretty much okay. There is a bezel around the keyboard which will make it hard to get the dust out with compressed air, and there's also a large gap in the board where the spacebar sits, which is going to let in a lot of extra dirt and dust. However, by the looks of things you can just take this apart and give it a good clean that way. Price of this sits at around about $99 or £110 or 120 euros at the time of this review, which is reasonable I would say, and the rest I'm going to say as part of my verdict. So overall I love this keyboard. I feel that this is one of the few gaming keyboards that I've used where I felt like I'm getting some great quality with it. Honestly, just the noise levels in terms of lack of rattling and smoothness around the board is just superb. I think that once someone has had a high quality keyboard, no matter if it's gaming or whatever type it is, your tolerance for those that will rattle, feel a bit hollow or anything like that would be quite low. This is a keyboard that when I'm using it I forget about it completely, which I think is great. Much like with most gaming keyboards, there is a bit of redundancy with the whole over the top RGB effects, but it really just nails absolutely everything else to me. Now I'm not a keyboard connoisseur yet, but I'd hope that if I would compare this to a high quality mechanical keyboard, then maybe I wouldn't be disappointed. If you are a keyboard nerd, let me know in the comments. Am I delusional, clueless, dumb? Would you be disappointed in this keyboard? Let me know. So basically I can recommend this keyboard. If you really need a keyboard that has gaming in its name, then this one will be great for you. If the 10 keyless and full size keyboards are the same as this, then honestly it's a great pickup with the high quality that these have. Let me know what you think in the comments below, like and subscribe. Also, if you have a recommendation on what to look for in terms of a more enthusiast entry level keyboard, let me know as well. I might need something as a benchmark for all these gaming ones in the future, and you never know, I might review it. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.